Astronauts to the moon.
Houston, we have a problem.
Astronauts to the moon.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. This is your host, Vikka Draziv. Guys, welcome to the show. If you're watching us from YouTube, do comment, like, share, and subscribe. And if you're watching us from realtruthseekers.com, rgs.video, a big welcome to everyone there too. And yes, realtruthseekers.com is one of our main sponsors for most of our podcasts and productions. So make sure you guys check out realtruthseekers.com, rgs.video is the shortest link. And yes, an awesome topic we have today too. So let's jump in with our host and panelist, the co-host. My first co-host, Gene. Gene, how are you, brother?
Hey Vika, doing great, bro. I hope you can hear me. I might be having some wire problems over here, but just let me know. No, you're right, bro. This is a great topic. Happy to be part of it, and welcome to the show, everybody. Great to see you. Thanks for spending your time with us on these interesting shows. And tonight's gonna be good, bro. We're gonna have a lot of similarities. We might run into things from the Celts, the Norse shows that we did. And then some of the differences are going to be pretty crazy also, I think. It's like Zoroastrianism has some crazy differences too. So we'll have some fun topic tonight. And glad to have everybody with us. And good to see you. Have fun.
Oh, yeah, definitely, brother. And our next panelist is Keith. Keith, how are you?
Hey, Vikka, I'm doing real good. I'll look forward to being with you guys just for a few minutes tonight. Then I've got to cut out for a family party. But the subject sounds good. Again, as usual, what I've noticed in all these different ancient cosmologies that we've been covering is, yeah, some of the differences, but the similarities and the underlying common denominator of all of them, of course, is that the Earth is flat and stationary. When you start talking about their gods and the beliefs that they have, I talk to people about flat Earth every day. And I think one of the things that scares them, Vika, I recommend Flatten the Curve many times every day to a lot of people. And a lot of people, they just actually seem scared to go watch it because I tell them what's in it and who it is, what they're doing. And I think what it is they're scared that it's going to destroy their worldview. And the truth does that, but that's okay. I mean, if we'd be willing, and anyone listening tonight, if you'd be willing to question your beliefs instead of identifying with your beliefs and saying, "Oh, this is who I am," and just realize, "Hey, this is just something I believe," like like the Celts or the North or the subject tonight, they have beliefs about God and spirituality. But when it comes to the flat and stationary Earth, that's not a belief. That's a knowing. You can observe it. You can measure it. Someone called me stupid today because I was claiming the Earth was flat. And I said, no, no, no. I'm not claiming the Earth is flat. I'm observing and measuring that the Earth is flat. You're claiming that the Earth is a globe. You must be new to this. We don't have a claim. We have an observation with measurements that proves the Earth is flat and stationary. So we have things we know and we have things we believe. Flat Earth is something that we know. And I've been enjoying learning from all these subjects, Vika, of different things, that different cosmologies of the beliefs they had about their gods. It's been fascinating. So thanks for doing these, and I've been glad to be a part of them as much as I can.
Oh yeah, that's the whole idea, right? We also spoke about it last time, that it's importance of breaking down each and every one and looking it in detail about their creation story and try to figure out, apart from the typical specifically said words, in indirectly words, you could make out what they're trying to explain too. So that's the whole idea about, right? So we are definitely having a great time doing that. So, and yes, our final panelist is Evelyn. Evelyn, how are you?
Hi, hello everybody. Yes, I too keep being surprised over all the similarities and the cultures, how far they go back, and yeah, it's all really, really interesting. So I can't wait to start today's episode.
Oh yeah, the origin of Slavic creation.
Yes, Slovenia too. Yes.
Slovenia, and also many different countries, because it covers, I think it covers different part of Europe and Russia, and it was
Dozens
more
of countries, right? Yeah, it's almost like calling somebody European. You know, it's hard to. You got to be more specific than that, and you can't be because there's so many countries involved.
exactly, because the Slavic religion was like an outgrowth of common Proto-Indian European religions. Proto-Indian European religion,
Right.
which counts the almost 3 or 4, the last one we covered too. So like they share a strong similarity with the beliefs of like neighboring cultures, such as like Bals, like Tarsicians,
Iran,
the
which we did last
Phrygians.
time.
Exactly. Like they even have like substitution for the terms of like supreme of God, like with the term of sky, and like the Slavic believed to have begun with the worship of life-giving forces like the ancestors and their supreme god Rod, one of them.
Yes, apparently the religious structure, it lasted for about 600 years, and then it was replaced by Christianity. So it dwindled in the known.
Pre-Christian, and then this was all before Christianity conversion of these people. Yeah.
And I think due to the fact that religion is very much a organized religion, people are starting to go back to this religious culture, because they're looking for more connection, for more spiritual connection.
Oh yeah, that's why I was saying there are like different version of them about these creation story and their belief, because it's kind of subdivisions or something. Because in some places it tells about, like, they used to do sacrifice of animals, and in another place they say it was they don't used to do sacrifice of animals in their way of, you know so mixed, like. So the myth of Perun and Veles, like this myth tells the story of a struggle between two gods, Perun and Veles. Like Perun was the god of thunder and lightning, and he was known for his strength and courage. Veles was the god of the underworld, and he was known for his cunning and ability to deceive. The two gods fought many battles, and in the end, Perun emerged victorious. And then there were other gods like Jarilo and Morana, were the Slavic fertility and vegetation gods and goddesses of nature and death. Like the Jarilo was associated with the moon, and the Morona was the daughter of the sun. And they were the children of the Perun, the supreme god. And their sacred union brought fertility and abundance to the earth and ensured a bountiful harvest. Like Jarila was unfaithful to Marona, who killed him in revenge, leading to the withering and freezing of the nature in the winter. Like this myth repeated itself each year and had numerous parallels to similar myths in Baltics. So the Slavic gods Perun and Veles engaged in a battle after Veles tricked the goddess Dodola into giving birth to a son, Yarilo, an attempt to raise him as his own. Perun, the chief god of war, defeated Veles in a 3-day battle and banished him to the underworld. Like, it's believed to have played a role in the formation of the conflict between good and evil. Very similar, right? The starting of the light and the darkness.
Yes, it seems to be a recurring theme where there's a light and darkness, and a good and an evil, a man and a woman, and some kind of conflict.
True.
And then through the conflict, things are created, and they have offspring. So it's all a birth, a rebirth.
Right. So other curious thing is that the Perun is supposed to be the god of thunder and the chief god of the Slavs. Like he's associated with the oak tree. Very curiously, again, the tree. And he's often shown as like a mighty warrior. And then the second deity, other deities supposed to be Swarog It's Svarog. It's an anagram for Swarg. Swarg is supposed to be in Sanskrit or Vedas, is supposed to be like heaven. So it's just an anagram of the same word. Swarg. Svarog. He's supposed to be the god of the sky and of the fire. He also is associated with metalworking and blacksmithing. And then we had Veles, the god of the underworld and of the earth. He was often associated with animals, particularly the snake and the bear. Then we have Mokosh, the goddesses of fertility of the earth. Like she was associated with spinning and weaving, and she's shown as the protector of women and children. These are some of the characters of the Slavic creation story or the cosmology. And then you have Dazbog. Dazbog is a Slavic sun god, like son of Swarg, Swarvog, the second god, who is associated with the giving and abundance. Like he's supposed to be the primary chronicle and in the tale of the Igor campaign. And is sometimes identified with the god Svarodist or considered his brother. And then we have Ivan, a human hero in the Slavic cosmology. Ivan was a powerful warrior and a clever strategist. He was often shown as a defender of the Slavic people against their enemies. And then we have finally Rod. Rod is a figure spirit or a deity mentioned in the minor Slavic texts, often association with Rozanisti. There is no consensus in scholarship about Rod's role in Slavic cosmology. So because there were in different regions also, so there was some branching of the creation myths and stories. So the Slavic, they were also had artifacts like weapons, like they were rich in artifacts and weapons, like Koshai's needle in the Slavic folklore. Like Koshai cannot be killed by conventional means as his soul is hidden inside a needle, which is in an egg, inside of a duck, inside of a hare, in an iron chest buried under a green oak tree on the island of Buyan. So they believed in all like this magical artifact, and weapons. For example, the axe of Perun, the main god, he had an axe, and he was supposed to be the god of thunder and lightning. And his axe was said to have the power to summon lightning and unleash devastating storms. Again, technology to control, right? Otherwise, the humans are going to go crazy. Are you guys there?
Yeah, we're listening.
Yeah. Hey, Vikka, just changing the subject here a little bit. Do they have something equivalent to the flood or destruction of a race or humankind in their religion? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, the flood is in many different cultures all over, and some places there are 3 floods. So
yeah, is that in the Slavic belief system also?
Gotta be.
I didn't happen to run into any, but that doesn't mean there's not any out there. That's a good question.
Now, that seems to be another real common similarity that we've seen.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's not just Christianity and the biblical flood. There just seems to be there even seems to be so much scientific evidence today in 2023 that there was a worldwide or a plane-wide, if you will, flood at some point when you're seeing seashells up on the top of mountains.
Right. I got some silly explanation for it, but
don't they though? They have some silly explanations about everything.
Right.
Like, wow, that's you're wanting me to have a lot of blind faith to trust what you're saying right now.
Oh yeah, and the Slavic, the whole Slavic stuff is also very similar. You remember we spoke in the last one about the video games, the Final Fantasy with the Zoroastrian stuff. You know which games is connected with this one? Warcraft.
I was gonna guess that. I was gonna guess Warcraft.
Exactly, Warcraft, like the video game franchise, which began in the 1994, is like set in the fictional world of Azeroth and features various elements of Slavic cosmology, including the Slavic god Sharog.
I think it's Jordan Peterson who talks a lot about archetypes in movies and video games, and some of that stuff like Warcraft and many of the other games. They're so deeply ingrained in our psyche for some reason. Like there's just something there that's familiar, where people just love looking at it, thinking about it, almost like wishing that they could live in that kind of a world.
And yeah, they are creating it there for people to be like a simulation, virtual reality to be there because they have, again, it's a ripoff, right? Like how we spoke in the light, it's a direct ripoff, of the real information. Because if you really go details in all of these cosmologies, you can literally, it's a whole world in itself. What do you think? That's what we spoke in the most of the, these people are not capable of being original. And they say most of the most successful books and movies and everything, it's from the ancient books and texts and everything. The humans have not, we at this present age, we have not evolved literally to like the majority to, we can't even define everything actually, so to make out fantasy, so we speak about science fiction, so they put a label of science fiction, but most of it, it's their reality in the truth, like, the journey to the center of the earth, or, most of the good ones.
It's kind of like truth in plain sight or something like that.
That's right. Sure is.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, they put stuff out there just to mock the dumb masses. Yeah, there's so much stuff that, once you wake up to flat Earth and many of the other lies that we've been told since we were born, you see it and you're like, oh my God, how can all these billions of people on this flat Earth not realize that they're throwing it right in their face, making fun of them? I mean, NASA does that all the time. They're mocking people left and right. They're fanboys. Even SpaceX or SpaceX, when they're landing that rocket back on the pad and they do a last second edit right before the rocket hits the pad, it changes to another camera, and then you just see the rocket just sitting there perfectly balanced. It just,
bro, even if they didn't edit it,
yeah,
they didn't even have to edit it really, but that stuff's just crazy. I think that's how they're weeding us out, Keith.
Yeah, you might be right.
If they know, if they're going to find people cheering that on, and like it's history being made. Well, what do you say about that? I don't know. It's pretty crazy. And it's, over and over.
Oh yeah, and then these people, they use all these character. They make uh the whole world of that game based on these cosmologies. So even their geography and their weapons and their communications and the symbols, everything is right there.
Their
Everything is right there.
abilities.
Exactly. Their powers, because the Slavic cosmology also have a lot of these, wizards and beings and entities and wars and witch and everything, right? So it's like it's like a game of power, So
One thing they had that was a little different. I thought it was different that they had gods for like equinox and solstice also. So they weren't just
exactly this.
things.
Yeah, so they had God for like kind of elements too. So
Right. Did
so
you
it's
touch on what was it called, the disembodiment theory from them, where God like fragmented into everything, the dismemberment creation story? Did you run into that at all?
nope.
Nope. Never heard of it.
It's
Sounds like the transporter beam in Star Trek.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Evelyn.
Sorry, I said it sounds like the transporter beam in Star Trek.
So there was another game which is also based on that too. It's called The Witchers. It's also was a popular video game and a book series, which was later adapted into a TV series based on the Slavic folklore.
Oh, The Witcher.
Yeah, and features various creatures and characters from the Slavic cosmology.
Did it announce any of that, or you had to kind of figure it out? Didn't say that this could be found here in these books or anything like that, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
So in other words, if you didn't know that that's where it came from, you wouldn't know, right? They didn't say it to you?
No, they're never going to say it to anybody. It's for the people to figure it out.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, because if they would literally say, we took this from there, then they have to pay royalties to anybody who comes up with the whoever.
That's right. Yeah.
Like even a name could be same, and the people could screw around for copyrights or whatever, right? So, and especially when you are making big money, right? And these game companies are making big money.
I see what you're saying. It's true. I get it.
And the same thing, the another character, Hellboy. In the Hellboy comic series, Baba Yaga is a fictional supervillain based on the Russian folklore character of the same name.
Oh, wow.
She is known for living in a chicken-like house and counting dead men's fingers. She appears in the 2019 film Hellboy, portrayed by Emma Tate and Troy James. The same thing how we spoke about Avatar and this. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say that all the those kinds of films are being shown, all the hero films and the those kinds of Hellboy and those have been shown the last time here in the Netherlands. And they're all just one after the other, all the Marvel films and the So they're just throwing everything into your face like that. like
Well,
Oh,
this.
yeah.
I honestly
Yeah,
think that's what they were created for. I don't think they figured it out afterwards. I think they did it to do that. They created media and film for this reason. So it's part of the issue. You got to be careful how you watch things, right?
Mm.
Especially if you know what they're doing. So
Yes,
it
nowadays
could be a good tool.
yeah. Nowadays, if you watch these new sci-fi films with open eyes, you see the whole story. For example, the story from Black Adam.
You're talking about that,
The storyline was familiar, biblical, but
right?
not related to Adam, as in Adam and Eve.
Mm.
Yeah, they like to twist a bit
Yeah.
here and there that the people don't.
Right. So it's not identical,
Yeah.
but it's so very close.
Mm.
So there are different variations also in sub variations with the Slavic stuff. So there's some, so some speak about like how was their earth created, like according to them. Like according to the Slavics, in the beginning, the earth was flat. That's how God created it. The folklore tales and the legend says that later events occurred which lead to the change of its shape.
Was that when I remember reading where one in the beginning you could see all straight across from one end to the other. It was so flat, right? And then
Maybe that's what he's trying to say there, is that before it was just flat, and then the topography was created, the mountains and the rivers, and
right,
in a way.
the dips and valleys. Sure, that's when like the devil. I was reading that. You see, it got a little confusing because there's different variations of things,
Exactly, because here it's in some of the places it's saying that the God created the world with the help of the devil.
Right.
Here,
That's I was reading that too. Got some dirt from the underground.
Like God created the earth with the help of the devil, his then co-worker. Once there was only water, and God lived alone in the world. He walked one day, and then he met the devil. He was happy that he finally has company and became friends with him, but they were quite lonely even together. Therefore, they decided to create the earth and the people. God sent his friend in the deep ocean waters. He told him to take some mud, and from it he created the earth and a throne on which both could sit from time to time. So in the beginning, our earth was small, big enough so that it could befit the throne. God covered it with the sky like a lid. That's a firmament that put traditionally on a clay pot used to make bread. After he finished work, tired, the creator fell asleep on the throne. The devil decided to draw him while he was asleep so that the earth wouldn't only be for him. He began to drag the throne towards the water, but he constantly couldn't reach it. The soil became more and more, the earth grew, and its end was unreachable. The devil got scared and woke up God so that he would bless the earth. And the God told him, I blessed it while I was asleep, and you were trying to drown me. The devil understood that the God sees, hears, and does his deeds, both asleep and awake. The devil felt embarrassed and his friend continued to work. He created the plants and animals, but the earth continued to grow and the sky couldn't cover it anymore. Then God hit here and there with his stick, the earth shaped, and he managed to cover it. And the curve become mountain and valleys. So like they're manipulating the earth with a stick, and that became the mountains. According to another legend, he made a big plate of mud. He planted in the center a walnut. And afterward, he created the basil. He tied a string on the tree and fell asleep. So according to the Slavics belief, the earth holds on the horns of a buffalo and a turtle shell, or is it positioned on the head of a bear, rooster, or a fish, as flat as a pancake. It is surrounded by a snake which bites its tail. So that it won't crack apart because of the heaviness of the people, animal, and the mountains and the sea. Quite interesting, yeah? Speaking about some kind of a ring around, right?
Right. Let's make a nice container there. A nice edge to hold everything in.
Oh yeah, and also spoke about the lid above. So it's literally describing the geography.
I like how it sounded almost like the land extended beyond it for a while. Where the lid couldn't, what did you say, the lid couldn't cover the earth?
Exactly. It speaks about the earth being flat and then creating those mountains and valley, putting the lid, the outskirts, the ring to support the weight. So it's quite interesting. And also they speak about the light and the dark. Like the earth has an end according to the Slavic. It's called the end world. It is so far that one would start walking towards it as a child and will reach it when he or she is an elder. We're speaking about 70 to 80 years of walking distance. Interesting, yeah. And they still won't reach it. At the end of the world, there are Somovili, dragons. There's also the Sun Castle.
Which way? North?
Not any direction. You could go in any direction. It doesn't mention. So the word earth means soil and ground. So they have a deep respect towards the earth that feeds people and after their death accepts them.
A lot of
So
these
they-
cultures really did have a great respect for nature, plants and animals, and everybody else. I love that
Oh yeah,
theme throughout all of them. It's so much more of a harmonious place to live in, and peaceful and loving. And less of this like this TV induced coma people walking around in.
oh yeah. Before, not only these specific people, most of the ancients were living in harmony with the nature. And if you want to call the whole world as pagans, you could call them. And even before Judaism, Christianity, or Islam, even when before they become specific, everybody was practicing paganism. Everybody, including all the prophets.
Right.
So
Like you said, everything's demonized. Everything. So they make people afraid to do anything.
exactly. Living in harmony with nature, understanding the nature, protecting the nature. If that's demonized, if that is
Yeah.
that is why.
I think
Yeah.
it comes down to where people start to say the word worship. I think that's where some confusion gets in. So,
But it's a way of somebody of instead of saying praying or prayers.
right.
Somebody say, I'm gonna go and pray. I'm gonna go and worship. I'm gonna go and whatever is the way of expressing.
Exactly.
Because when we speak about why are the problems of humanity, it's because we forgot to live like communities. We forgot to live
like brothers and sisters who care about each other.
And with the nature, because that's
right. We can't do it without them.
Exactly. You cannot live in a chaotic environment with different kind of pollutions.
Yeah, well, they bombard us with that stuff. That's just left and right, up and down. So and that takes a toll on how we're able to think, how we're able to process this information. And even if we're able to see this information being presented to us, it gets affected by your diet. And that's including the TV, visual, mental diet too.
Oh yeah. So they had different rituals in a way. Maybe the word rituals, it's like, maybe people get affected with the word ritual.
That's another one.
It's nothing. It's just a way of doing things. You
celebration.
Yeah, you taking a glass of wine and pouring it yourself and taking it is also a freaking ritual in a way, because you're doing everything, right? Everything you do every day is a ritual. Even from eating your food, your sleeping, your everything you do, the time you spend doing it apart from your work for yourself is a ritual.
Very ritualistic, right? Sure.
So there's nothing
ritualistic. Yeah,
there's a big difference to having a routine things every day, and to having pagan rituals to worship certain things.
Right, right. That's
Because I
just
mean,
that's what we're saying. Like people get
even
them confused and they get
Phallic
upset about it.
worshippers have certain rituals that we
Yeah,
would not.
from the lightest to the darkest, right? It all depends on
Yeah,
the intensity one uses that ritual, because
yeah,
light or dark, negative or positive,
yes,
it's have
You
both
know,
the polarity, right, for the same thing.
yeah.
speak. You
I
know,
mean the Jewish Sabbath is a ritual also. You know that.
yeah. So is the Super Bowl. So
So Super Bowl.
and a halftime show.
Yeah, yeah, I get it.
Right? I think it is.
Oh yeah, FE Nation says it's the moon is awesome tonight. Yeah, it's supposed to be full moon tonight, so
Ah.
Yeah, it's quite bright.
yeah.
So where is everybody? If we can see the moon, let us know.
I see the moon right above me.
I'm gonna go take a look. I'll take a look at the break.
Just put the camera on.
Right now have to be around 90 degrees in Europe.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's just above our
Yeah,
head.
Over your head?
more or less. Yeah.
I think for Jean it would be in the east, a bit of
That's
an angle.
Right. This should be kind of just coming over now. I'm stuck behind a mountain or two, which delays my visual time a little bit.
Oh yeah. So in those times, like during the first harvest, the man naturally went out in the field with celebratory clothes. He carried with himself white cottage loaf and took a piece of it and gave it to the field wine vessel. If it's not during fasting period, roasted chicken. First, he took a piece of bread, threw a piece in the field, and then gave it to the ox. Curious. He ritually sprinkled wine over the earth, and only after this he would eat the food and started work. Like similar non-blood sacrifice was done in the beginning of the key agriculture activities. Like then is the cosmic egg. The cosmic egg, the source of life. Like they believe that from the egg, all or almost all cosmic elements have appeared, is a common one. From different places in the world, India to China to Japan, the egg is a reflection of macrocosm. According to Shanovich, the rounded shape of sky, sun, and moon reminded people of the shape of the egg. So even like the Slavic, the Czechs, the Polish, and some part of Russia, like the people tell of how the sun and the earth and the moon are all came from the egg. They have it in text, in riddles, in children games.
Yeah, Vika, they really had a deep understanding for that symbiotic relation between, like nature and let's say a crowd of people as opposed to one in the crowd. That neither is more important. The singularity of one person or the crowd, they're both just as important to each other. They understood that.
Exactly.
And that's like the macro and the micro, right? The smaller picture inside the smaller picture, which is part of the bigger picture. These people really got that stuff.
True, and this is a thing they have reflected it in many also different, as I mentioned, text, riddles, games, and even songs.
Right, sure. I know they love to put it in songs, but they press us so hard to go the other way.
Exactly, songs about creation and the essence of the universe for everlasting processes of rebirth of nature, the initial material substance that is ever changing from one form to another. The time is said to be a chicken. On the one hand, the chicken is a bird, a domestic one, and on the other, the constellation chicken, the star cluster Pleiades.
Wow.
Also known in folklore as the hen with the chicklets. So
the Pleiades, isn't that where Subaru comes from? Right? Am I thinking of the same right constellation?
Nibiru,
Seven Sisters.
Pleiades.
Right? Is that what you said? Pleiades?
Yep.
Is that the Seven Sisters?
Maybe it's another name
Yeah,
for Pleiades. Yep.
I think so. That's where Subaru got its name, the car company. That's why the logo looks like that, even though it only
Right.
has 6 stars.
Right.
No, there's a cultural deep fascination throughout a lot of history with that set of stars right there.
Exactly, and that also
That's where
connects.
Andromeda is, right?
Exactly, and
Sorry?
that also connects in that context of seasons have changes. Is the winter, so they used to use it to determine whether the year would be bountiful.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which was crucial for them, and they relied on the agriculture work.
Yeah, they did. That was their world, right? That's why they had such deep knowledge of astrology. I wonder if it could foretell the future somehow. I wouldn't be surprised.
They had another connection between the egg and the stars. It's also important. The stars are seen as a symbol of potential vitality because of the comparison of stars to egg. The eggs hold a life in itself. The eggs nested by the hen are symbol of life, and from there the star symbolizes life as well. The Easter songs tells the comparison of eggs to the stars. So according to their legend related to the constellation, God saved a widow chicken and its chicklets from the flood by turning them into stars. The earth is also compared to an egg, more or less. If you see the whole shell around with the dome above and below, you could, there are some flat earth cosmology, cosmic egg representation, right?
Sure, there's quite a few of them.
The cosmic egg is supposed to be, yeah. Go ahead.
I like the representations because we're not really going to know. I don't think we're going to know what's that far underneath us, The best drills have only gotten about 8 or 9 miles down. That's as far as they could ever drill anywhere in the world, guys. And they did that, I think, in the 70s. in Russia somewhere. So we're not going to know, but it's cool figuring it out with these older stories. The older, the better, too. I think this is.
Oh yeah. Exactly, and also in the Christian mythology and in the Christian culture, like painting the eggs red in the beginning of the spring for Easter, like it's a symbol of immortality in a way. Like the tradition of egg decorating is related to the idea of resurrection and hope.
Wow. Isn't there New Year March 1st?
The Slavics?
I think they went
No,
by the moon. Yeah, I think no.
I have no idea
I
exactly.
think that
Exact date, I have no idea. Yeah.
all right, because I'm pretty sure I read that their calendar was by the month, by the moon rather. Sorry.
It didn't have
So
anything to do with the Gregorian and another one. They had their own. They had their own, but the other two calendar phased it out. You know, like
right. No, because it was geared towards. I think it was harvest during planting season, and harvest.
I think it's like in the ancient Hebrew calendar, where I think the first day of the year would be in March or April, and that is after the new moon in that month. So it's the sort of the first new moon in spring. After it's okay. The first new moon after the spring.
Okay.
That should be the first day of the year.
yeah, they're living in the nature, and it makes more sense, right? Like starting somewhere near the spring.
Yes.
On the spring equinox. Yeah.
Life, the first day, the start of life, new life. You know, when spring.
Nah, it really only does make more sense, guys.
It does make sense to start new life, new year, with new life, and not in the middle of, dead winter.
Really, when there's nothing going on.
No.
I don't know. I remember being a kid, rolling my eyes with that one, like New Year's, and it's freezing out. What are they doing? Then I kind of remember thinking also that, well, just because it's freezing here, it's not freezing all over the world. So
yeah,
I guess
exactly.
that's how I kind of justified it, that I didn't really understand what was going on. So.
Yeah, so they also have a comparison of an egg, like they say the egg and the sun, like the relation of the sun with the egg here is that they are perceived equally as a source of life that constantly continue life and the life forces in nature. The egg as a metaphor for the sun and the lightning is perceived as a symbol of the spring and the rebirth of the nature. When winter is replaced by spring, the eggs hold the seeds of life, and with the coming of spring, from it, new life emerge. That they also have the concept that the nature is eternal, the cycle of life, the motion is everlasting. Exactly. The continuous frequency and vibration, the cosmic dance, right? The Maya. Yeah, go ahead.
Now, they could just make it uninhabitable, but yeah, they can't destroy the whole place. They're going to lead us to think they can, all the nonsense they pull on us, but that's the part where we can say we're not big enough to do that. Like they say, oh, we're too small to see the curve. But the Earth is way too big to kill it all. And you know what? Not even as much as see the curve. You never see the effects of the curve in the buildings or the clouds or rain. If you see a cloud, like I remember as a kid seeing a cloud in Florida, I can't tell you how many miles away because you can see forever in Florida, and it was straight up and down. So it's the effects of the center point of gravity, which we're really looking for now, and that's nowhere to be found.
Never will be.
It's not. No, it's not. Because you know what? In 10 miles, there's a 60-foot difference in level. Right? It's a 60 foot of curve missing. So let's, I skip the curve. You're not going to see the curve. But you're not going to see the effects of that 60 feet of difference either. And that's a bigger problem, I think. A nice problem because that's visible all over the place. 10 miles, nothing. You get a clear shot of 10 miles anywhere, all over the world, to see buildings.
Oh yeah, 15 or 20 miles is easy without any equipment. It's easy.
Yeah, and that's a significant difference in what level should be. And you'd have to see the effects. In all kinds of different places. Airplanes would look weird. They wouldn't just be coming straight across. So, buildings would have that tilted away look. They would have to, even if it's slight.
True. So they have so many representation of the egg. It's like so important for these people.
Well, according to one of the versions, but because they have
different versions, yeah.
It describes in the beginning to have been just darkness, and there was a golden egg, which is the symbol of the new life.
Right.
And then I think symbol of new life, in which Rod, the forefather of all Slavic gods and of all creation, was sound asleep. So he was floating in this primordial chaos and darkness. So he was resting and waiting for the moment to grow strong, to create everything, to the whole world and all.
Coolio. So, guys, we will take a break, all right?
Yep.
Perfect.
And we're going to be right back. A quick break, short break. All right, guys, don't go anywhere.
There's not one authentic picture of this oblate, pear-shaped spinning ball that they claim we live on. sorry to tell you, the only thing that's been to space is your imagination. There is no such thing as space. For thousands of years, all ancient civilizations knew the Earth was flat. Until 500 years ago, they took the Word of God and they turned it upside down. They said, no, we revolve around the sun. The sun's in the middle, and we're spinning through space and wobbling with the sun at over 600,000 miles per hour. When an organization of pseudoscientists tell me to go completely against what all my senses tell me, that we're stationary and flat, I see it's flat. It's immovable. And I'll go outside when I send a camera up without GoPro or fisheye lens. When I send a balloon up 100,000 feet and it shows the horizon flat, I can't go against that. When I see skylines 60 to 100 miles away, when spherical geometry says they should be behind the curve, all this stuff isn't adding up. There's not one authentic picture of this oblate, pear-shaped spinning ball that they claim we live on. I'm sorry to tell you, the only thing that's been to space
I remember my
is your imagination. There is no such thing as space.
You guys land on the moon,
No,
which
you
was
didn't. No, you didn't.
what?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation. So you associated what you saw with...
I have very hazy memories. Well,
All right, welcome back, guys. I'm gonna give a quick shout out to the people in the chat. Cover to cover with Jeremy Pierce, Dr. Frankenstein, FE Nation, J Daddy, Evelyn is also there. Then it's Flat Plain, Oregon, Queens M, Mike Sudnick. All right, we have Jeannie and Evelyn with us. We also had Keith, but he had to do some stuff. So, yep. Slavic cosmology. So, like any other cosmology, there is connection, as we spoke earlier too, about the Slavic culture with the Vedics or Indo-Europeans also. Like the Slavic culture is supposed to be one of the oldest cultures in the world, one of the oldest also, according to many sources. Like the Slavics, people had like common ancestors with the Aryan race, like which those now living in modern India and Iran, Vedics and Zoroastrians. This link has been confirmed by genetic studies also, as well as linguistics and traditions and many other similarities. Like some Russian words also even have like Sanskrit counterparts, like, or the vice versa. Like including one of the most recognizable word, Vedas. Like in the Slavic part, it means to know. The meaning is to know and understand. Like the culture of pre-Christian Russia and Eastern Europe is also often referred to as Slavic Vedism. Both of the words are there together right there. Like it is yeah, go ahead.
They are closely knitted, and there's a lot of similarities between them.
Oh yeah. Like it is a holistic understanding of the world, which recognizes micro and the macrocosm similarities and the connectedness of everything in the nature. People realize that the interest of everyone cannot be above the interest of the person. But at the same time, each person should be working for the good of the community. Like the cells work in the body and are nourished by it. The Slavic Vedism. Yeah, go ahead.
I love their understanding for community and family. It's great.
Oh yeah, it's saying in a context of like every cell in our body is important for a function, right? So living together, organized, is like making the whole system work, making the whole organism work, the whole earth in a way. Like, you know, like everything, if we compare with the insects and elements and every living things and non-living things, it's all interconnected with us, right? We be part of it. So we have to function in a way as a community that it works in a harmonic way, you know, everything, because the point is understanding that we are part of this big mechanism. For it to function, everything in harmony, we have to do our job in a way as a community, be it whatever, in the sense of like, you know, so.
Right. Now that's where I think like ego gets in the way, because somebody's going to always want more and do less for more kind of stuff. Makes it really difficult on everybody who is willing to cooperate. But you know, that could be unlearned too, I bet, you know.
Oh yeah. So the Slavic Vedism teaches that there is just one God, which is expressed in different natural concepts, phenomena, or physical objects, and is connecting the entire universe together. People viewed nature as their home and were seeking to cooperate and understand it, not fight or conquer it.
Exactly.
In the same way that you would not fight your own home.
Well, that's how they portrayed American Indians to be. Living, you know, as one with the land, leave a light footprint.
Exactly.
It's a nice message. It's a good message.
Oh yeah. That's the message that we have all forgotten. We all know this. It's nothing. It's there inside us, but it's just that we are forgetting, right? Because it also says that the nature is the temple.
Yeah.
So the Slavs were very aware of the nature of the sun and the moon cycles and the solstices and the equinoxes, which coincided with their major celebrations. Like many of the minor dates were recognized and taken into account when doing agriculture work or performing certain rituals. The gods themselves were rarely personified because they did not represent particular entities, but more like a concept which make up the world, like the god for each equinox and solstice.
Yeah, right.
Exactly, which, as you mentioned, which were also seen as the representation of the sun that goes through its yearly cycle of birth. childhood, maturity, and death. So here it's also mentioning the movement of the sun, right?
Right, going through stages.
Geocentric, right? So the nature being the temple, like trees, especially oak trees, big stones, sacred water source, were as much praised and respected as idols of the gods that were sometimes put up. Nature itself was considered to be a temple, and its resources were used with care and only as much as needed. Exploitation was not allowed.
Well, gee, how'd that go out of style?
I'll go again. Nature itself is considered to be a temple, and its resources were used with care and only as much as needed. Exploitation was not allowed. Everything in nature and even inanimate objects were believed to have a spirit inside them, but only man had a soul that he could develop and build. Quite interesting.
Yeah, that really is.
Because if the nature is the temple and we are part of the nature, so we are part of the temple, right? So in many different cosmology, they say, believe that our bodies are supposed to be the temples too, right? You know, the microcosm of the macrocosm. So
that's right, and it's in your mind, right, guys? And that's where your temple is. So that's where they refer to, and that's what they mean. So it's funny how they say stuff.
oh yeah, like people consider themselves to be children of God, and so were potential gods themselves, which meant that they realized their abilities to create their own realities and were working towards it while studying and following the universal law of the universe. They also considered themselves responsible for the world around them and treated it with respect and care, which also meant that the people only asked for help in the rare and important circumstances, but more often asked for guidance, showing how to do some things instead of asking for something to be done. Nice. Sacrificing animal and sometimes people to the god was not practiced in true Slavic Vedism, and instead fruit, vegetables, flowers, grain, or milk were used to thank the gods and the spirits. The knowledge was accumulated and passed on by the sages, who were at the same time healers, mages, and herbalists, who were the most knowledgeable among the community.
They were like the shamans, right, Vikka?
Exactly. Exactly. They have a huge culture with the shamanic and the tribal stuff. And hey, FE Nation, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. FE Nation said, thank you for your time to help people wake up to the flat earth. God bless everyone. Thank you, brother.
Great to see you.
So when Christianity was instilled, temples and the most of the written evidence was destroyed and many sages were killed. The change in the calendar of the Julian and then Gregorian calendar also led to a mix-up and confusion about many significant dates. This led to a loss of the knowledge of the most of what we know now. Comes from very few remaining texts, and many was a lot of that was passed by word of mouth, along with archaeological objects of everyday life, with which many patterns and symbols on them that gave clue to the culture of that time. Quite interesting, yeah.
Sure it is. Sure it is. And, the way they got us on our schedule of eating, I bet you it was way different. And the importance of what they were looking at in the sky, I really think it was when to do a lot of purposeful things like planting. Had to be one of the big ones, I guess, right? The food's pretty important to most people. So, and then the other things, the celebration times are important too, as well. So that they had that knowledge passed down because it was so important. And then these new guys took it away because of the same reasons, because it's so important for us as species, and to have our potential is somehow sandwiched in between these talks we're having.
Exactly. As we spoke, that they didn't have technology before, so they had to depend on their senses and on real abilities for everything, because even these shamans or these elder, they didn't predict weather because they had a GPS or a channel where they could see if it's raining or it's going to be bad weather or if the harvest is not going to be good or whatever kind of predictions these people used to make. Is because they were literally connected with the nature, with the elements, with the energy. Because as we were speaking about in the last one too, about the remote viewing, what is the person doing? It's the same thing. The person is connecting itself to the magnetic energy around the earth, and it's like literally you are like plugging into a technology, and you are like literally getting information there about what is coming. A storm is coming, a hurricane is coming, a cyclone is coming, an earthquake is coming, a flood is coming.
Right.
Whatever, right? For that zone, for that particular area, right?
Well,
it's all, yeah, go ahead.
The human body is like a barometer. It can measure the moisture in the air. Some people who are very sensitive in their joints can tell when it's going to rain. And that's basically barometric pressure. It's difference in the air, right? The more moisture in the air is what causes that to go up.
Exactly. And it's just and they're just tuning in, brother. They're just tuning in the and getting the information. It's technology. It's science.
Yeah,
Ain't no magic. Ain't no.
plenty of animals that do weird things before hurricanes and earthquakes, and lobsters know how to navigate the ocean floor, all kinds of stuff like that. Similarities to what we're talking about. But no, the animals are very in touch with nature and what's going on, and so that's how that stuff happens. They might not be able to really put into words what's going on, but they know, right? Storms coming up,
Exactly.
right? Cats head for the hills. We're under the bed when the storm's on the way. Plenty of that stuff goes on. And like you say, bro, I think, we say it plenty of times. This stuff has been, like our phones are just a cheap ripoff of what we could be doing. So our vehicles, airplanes, and communication, I think all of it is.
Exactly.
Where do we get all this? Right? Where do we get all this stuff from? The same people who are going to tax your tomatoes if you had a farm over here by yourself. So, and look at the similarities between that and then the similarities between what we're talking about recently and the backwardsness of it. So, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so as we spoke also about that, it's sometimes the information is supposed to be not received up to some time for the evolution of that conscious, So the world had been seen as a union of three realms according to the Slavics, So the first, one is called Yav. There is Prav, and then there is Nav. So the Yav is color white, is the materialistic and the earthly realm, the one where people live physically. Then we have the Nav, that is blue, is the energetic realm where ancestors, gods, energetic entities, and souls that are about to go to Yav reside. The soul was believed to be immortal and could come back to Yav again. And the last one was Prav. This word is very similar to the word pravo, which means right in English, with the same range of meanings. Is the universal law, which was connecting both realms, represented by the color red. Lives in both Yav and Nav, were equally important and were supposed to be used for inner growth and development. So the Slavic people considered themselves pravo Slavine, which means those who follow and praise pravo or prav, like it's the universal law of being, the moral principle, the true knowledge that leads to the good. This is probably where the description of these people as Slavic comes from. The Slavs had high moral values and were advocating faith and integrity, which can also be seen in the totem animals and characters of many fairy tales, such as swan, wolf, stork, and falcons. So the colors of these three realms are also common on the flags of Slavic countries. So it's literally representing the three realms.
I never thought of that. I gotta look for that now. Flags are so important.
Oh yeah, but many will not want to see it that way, right?
I have a picture of a guy from Russia standing at a desk, and there's a flag behind him with a star fort on it.
Oh yeah, there have to be some good ones there too. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks real because I clipped it off of page a few years ago, and somebody posted it off of their television. So it's not like it's photoshopped. It could be, but didn't appear to be. It looked like it was right out of somebody's living room.
I also heard once that keys on a flag have also a special meaning. I'm not sure what.
Keys?
Yeah, keys.
Huh. Wow. There's a few flags. Malta, I think. A couple flags with dragons.
Yes.
Kind of interesting. For a country to put something that has folklore tied to it on their flag. It's cute.
So the triunity of the world runs through the God's pantheon as well. There are three main gods, as we spoke about before: Svarog, the ultimate creator, the creative mind, consciousness, the father of the gods, the god of the kings and the generation, the beginning and the source of life. His element is air. Then we got Perun, the god that leads everyone by the law of Praf, the god of movement and change, the force that transforms the universe. Very similar to Brahma and Vishnu. Brahma is creating and Vishnu is operating, right? Very similar. And then, so the god of the movement and the change, the force that transforms the universe, the active energy. His element is fire. Then we have the Sventovit, another god, the god of light that helps people be in the real world and gives life force. His element is earth. This god is also linked to the water element, since all the river flows through the soil. At the same time, all these gods are considered to be just the expression of the one, Svarog. So there is no real division. Svarog is similar to the Sanskrit word Swarga, which I mentioned earlier, which means heaven, Swarga. This triune concept is also applicable to the agricultural season, sowing season, harvesting season, soil resting season. It's very similar to the Indian Vedas. The analogy, trialogy, is three gunas and three gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. It's just comparing the two. Apart from that, the antagonist concept also existed, such as Belobog and Chernobog, white god and black god, which were considered to be the two sides of being. The negative or the positive, the yin or the yang, the day or the night.
Yeah, right. The commonality of duality throughout.
Exactly. So they are like literally having that two gods, like one is the light and one is the dark, and it's apart from being a god, it's in a context of being a being that have the both sides equally important for it to, like, you know, be a being, like the day and the night. They were not good and evil as such, but more like forces that were constantly opposing each other to create balance and go hand in hand, like day and night. It's like, in a way, speaking about the magnetism, it's like
Right.
the sun and the moon pushing each other in a way in the magnetic energy of the earth and between themselves, to create that balance, to create that movement, to create that life, to create that polarity, right?
Yeah, if you had no reference point, what do? So you need the duality, at least, I suppose.
Yeah, because if we speak as also as Evelyn says, that there's always that the war of good and evil. It's just the way of putting it, that war is important for the life to continue
And to grow. And
the polarity.
To be
Yeah,
better, you know. This, I mean, it sounds like you're talking about. Some people say, "Nah, you're always in the right spot," and you are. You know, you're always growing. As long as you're growing, then how could you be better? Then yeah, could it be worse? Yeah. So, but hopefully, like the goal for everybody is to grow better. No, do people really want to grow worse? Maybe. I don't know. I hope not.
oh yeah, it's time to learn some lessons, right? Looks like, you know, like every time we are here, it's to learn lessons, and if it's not been learned, you have to revisit. It's like when you fail in a class, you have to repeat the year, right?
Right.
Until you get to the next level, right? So it's so it also, like, sometimes out of your 100%, you have only done 70, right? So the next, you just have to complete that 25. You don't have to suffer the rest, right? That works for many things and everything and every soul, right? So whatever time has been allocated for us to be here in this dimension, that's what it is. It's not good, it's not bad, it's not why, it's not this or any living thing. Everything has its time because it's had its purpose of whatever time has been given. That's it. It's nothing to be, it's nothing negative about that, even if you have very less time in this dimension here, because everything has been calculated according to that. That's why we are here right now. Whatever we are supposed to be doing or experiencing, or, you know, so.
No, so it is
Everything.
like the stars. It is like, right, like the planets and the stars and the moon. It says perfect. Everything's perfect.
Oh yeah. So, because we really don't understand everything what Mother Nature has to offer, right? And when we say, oh, like, yeah, you know, somebody, whatever, or, you know, oh, passed on to their life, and maybe someone lived not so long, but it's a reason, right?
Yeah.
It's a reason. That's why even lots of kids, like the kids, sometimes lots of kids very young go to the other side because they already had done the job and they were left of 20 or 30% that they had to complete. So they didn't. You get what? It's a way of putting it out, of what are the possibility for a soul, according to different cosmologies, and mostly have the same, like it's because we are part of this creation, and as we spoke about also earlier, we are everywhere. We live everywhere. The past, our ancestors, everything is there in us, it's there in us. The past, the present, like.
And the answers too, right, Vikka? They really are inside of us.
Not only the answers, even the questions that you can't even imagine that ever existed.
Right. It's true.
So the Makosha was the goddesses of the moon and one of the woman goddesses, especially of those who were weaving the cloths, making Makosh. Was the weaving the fate of the people using silver strings. The chief female goddess was Lada and was dealing mostly with women's affairs, whereas her daughter Lila was dealing with the affairs of the young women and girls. The Slavic clothes, houses, and everyday objects were full of sacred symbols that were representing certain entities or protective amulets, but some were also related directly to the gods. The two symbols of there are many different symbols. They also had significant numbers, especially the 3, the 9, the 12. There are many different ceremonies, related with the numbers and all that stuff. They also speak about the cleanliness in both of the physical and metaphorical sense was a central part of the Slavic healthcare regime, and people wash themselves in the morning and in the evening while saying prayers. Kupalo was the Slavic god of cleanliness and health. He was celebrated during the summer solstice by going to saunas, washing oneself in the river or lake, and jumping over the bonfire, which was also considered cleansing. For sure, anybody looking from away is saying this is some demonic rituals going on. Fire also have a very cleaning energy, same as water heals us when we take a bath in a river with those currents, with those eons. It's amazing. I don't know about any. Yeah, I don't know about any ritual of doing this, but I do the fire stick. I play fire stick as a sport. Nice. And before I started, I didn't knew that it also worked to clean your energy, because once you do that, those play fire sticks around you. For flexibility, for fit, and you really feel so energized. It's as if you have taken a bath of light. It's crazy. You are pumping. The same thing when we are around a bonfire at it's crazy. The way it attracts us, the heat, the light, the image, right?
Smoke. Yeah.
Exactly. So whenever I used to finish that, I was full pumping with energy, 15 minutes, because it's just cleaning your aura too. So it's nothing. Elements. It's elements. It's nothing. It's no. You see many people. If you go to some beaches, some places, people play that stick with fire. I don't know how it's called in US, but
I'm not sure. It's really cool.
It has those 2 places to burn on the stick, and you keep turning around. When you start slow and amazing. Yeah. Amazing.
That's something they also do
Picture you
in
doing that,
Hawaii.
Vikka. Right.
What?
That,
They do that in Hawaii.
with fire sticks. Something that they do in Hawaii.
I don't know about as a ceremony or ritual, but there are many people. If you go to beaches and this in the night time, if you see some people in the evening doing a fire stick with that, some people do without fire, you know. But I like to do it with the fire. Amazing. It's not recommended for everybody because you need to practice a lot to play with the fire, because you know playing with fire can burn you, right? So first you have to practice for a long time that you can manage it without fire and you don't hit yourself on your head or on your sacks. And imagine that after also doing with the fire and not getting right. So yeah. So the number 6 was the number of the Kupalo. It resembles a drop of water and represents June, when Kupalo was celebrated, as well as the numbers of the rays, the snowflakes, the structured water. The day and the night of the Kupalo were considered the best time to pick certain herbs, especially the ones that had magical properties. There were several customs and rituals linked with herbs, such as making a crown out of them and using it for various things, including cleansing and predicting whether or not the woman will find her partner in the near future. This devotion to cleanliness that went into... Okay, so if you see from outside, say, "Oh, somebody making a crown out of a leaf," looks, it's crazy. It's living in fantasy, right? Or it's gone, like, But that same could be a herb that is helping you relieve your headache, or stimulating your senses, or making you more awake or more intuitive. The nature with the plants and the trees that exist around, and if you have that knowledge, so this devotion to the cleanliness that went into the Christian society helps Slavic countries to avoid certain medieval epidemics or be hit by them to a much smaller extent. Every house or a small group of houses had a private sauna, and busy places in the city, such as ports and markets, also had communal saunas nearby. Sauna visits included rituals. For example, hot water with herbs was used to put over hot stones and create healing steams, as well as special brooms made out of most commonly birch twigs, and were used to hit each other until the skin is red. It's crazy, yeah. It's healing with herbs. Now you try to do this therapy, they're going to charge you $500 in some center, right? And it's not for everybody, right?
No, and you know what? It's again because it's just another cheap ripoff.
Yeah, because you can plant herbs yourself, or find trees which you can which are medicinal trees, but then you have to extract the goodness, the extract the oils of the herbs and trees and all the plants, and that takes
yeah, for if you need to ingest, if you're going to ingest it, you need to extract the most, but there are some you don't need to extract. You could just make a infusion and you could take it. But there are some herbs which are special for bats. There are many different herbs that are good for bats. For example, the pine needles are very good.
I was thinking maybe like mint or something like that.
And the eucalyptus leaves are really good to make baths too, especially during the winter time, or before the winter, So, and also these putting herbs on hot stones is also done in many different places. Even in Americas, in South Americas, they have a lot of sessions where the people enter these caves with hot rocks and herbs, right? And they're sweating. I think it's called sweat lodge, and you're like sweating your ass out like for an hour, and you come out and you're like totally detox, like totally clean, like totally.
You sweat all the toxins out.
Yeah, like normal saunas, but this is more intense, like with herbs and.
Yeah.
Yeah, the herbs sounds like a really key ingredient that I never heard of before, but it's just like striking how it makes really, really good sense.
I'm actually giving natural products to my dog because she's got a bladder infection. She had a week of antibiotics and didn't do anything. So I switched toward natural supplements, and well, she's doing good. So, there you go.
Oh, good. Yeah, I was thinking before, Vikka, when you said if you saw somebody in the moonlight making a halo out of a leaf, you'd think they're crazy. But if they had a pill for that, it'd be normal.
Yeah, that's the thing about the pharmaceuticals and difference between pharmaceuticals, medicine, and herbs, natural medicine. They can't put a patent on natural herbs and trees and nature. Anything that comes out of nature, they can't put a patent on. They can't own it. Nobody can.
Right.
Oh yeah, they tried for many things. They tried to patent many medicines, even including like stuff like turmeric, which is supposed to be antibiotical properties,
Yes, and
their answer to that was though that they bought all the seed companies.
Chemical evidence. And then chemical things you can put a patent on because you are actually, making the compound chemicals, and then you get a patent, so nobody can make it.
Oh yeah, they try.
If it makes enough money, they can extend the patent out, and they can do that a few times and they'll stretch it out for a little while if it's making tons of money.
Yeah.
And then eventually you have generic versions sooner or later. That's inevitable. Well, hopefully, I guess. Not, you know what? But stuff like this could help people really figure out ways to not use that stuff anymore, because that's another cheap ripoff.
I think even if it's food or medicine, when it's grow organically, or if it's grown with the right energy, even if you're doing it in a more small place, doesn't matter. It has that energy of, because it's all about the essence of the plant, right? Apart from its.
I agree. Sure, you could do it in an apartment in the city somewhere, anywhere. It is the essence of the environment. I think so. Plants,
roof
they're
gardens
talking to us, guys.
Yeah, roof gardens are getting popular.
Good. Vegetable ones, right?
Yeah, people are planting vegetables and fruit trees and yeah, whatever. Mostly vegetables and stuff like that.
Nice.
So these people, apart from all these saunas in the winter, these people like coming out of the sauna and plunging into the snow or cold water. Like in summer, they poured bucket of cold water over each other or jumped into the river. Like the cold weather and the cold water were thought to be the conducive to health. There was even a saying, winter cold keeps everyone young. Those who lived in the north and the Siberian parts of Russia were using snow and cold water on children since they were very young to get them used to the harsh condition. Oh yeah, exactly. Did you see that? They used to put them to sleep out in snow.
That's crazy.
In the fridge, not in the snow.
Yeah, maybe in the bottle have to be vodka instead of milk.
Imagine that. We just had -5 degrees here in New York. That was cold.
So they also used many animal-based remedies, blood, fat, and liver taken from local animals and fish, since herbs were unavailable for most of the year for the northern part. Like the medicine was practiced by both men and women. Such people were called Vedma, very similar to the word Vedun, very similar to the word Veda. The one that knows. The meaning is the one that knows. They knew about the medicinal properties of the plants and were able to treat difficult cases of illnesses. Simple cases would be treated at home, as people, even in the medieval times, had extensive knowledge of the remedies for everyday problems. Like common illnesses included various injuries during hunting or wars, colds, any infectious disease, everything there is to cure. People who lived in the north faced much harsher conditions, and frostbites were also common, along with the ice injuries and the irritations due to the snow sparklings in the sun. Insect bites were common, as forests were the housing of a large number of mosquitoes, bees, and ticks. Special type of moss was known to be good antiseptic and was used on the wound to stop bleeding. Birch, garlic, onion, and rose hips were among the most well-known and readily available plants for medicinal needs. Onion and garlic were used universally against almost any ailments and were praised for their medicinal power. Onion was known to ward off scurvy and was always packed for any long journeys, especially ones taken by the sea. Birch was also in many ways, and very part of it was known to have medicinal properties. Pumpkin seeds and wormwoods were a common remedy against intestinal parasites. It's crazy, yeah. It's like your food is your medicine and your medicine is your food. This is what it means, right?
Yeah.
What you eat, yeah.
I bet you they had far less ailments to conquer back then also.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Less severe and a lot less too, I bet you.
Yeah, well, nowadays we get all these additives and in the packed food. So yes, all those E's.
Right, they're breaking us down there with the intake,
Mm-hmm.
so we can't even
And then
fight
all the
stuff off.
poisons that we take in the through the air
Mhm.
and other means. Yeah, it's not natural medicine. Yeah, it's the best.
Kind of makes me
So
wonder
then,
what some of these ancients would think if they could pop into this world for a week.
Oh, they would they would run away.
Imagine.
there is so much of natural medicine and food that is superfood and is free, just because some people would call it foraging. So it doesn't have value, or it's so potent, packed with medicine and food, free. The only thing is that you have to know about it. You have to, if you know about it, you have to learn about it. Because
Yeah, especially there are a lot of edible mushrooms that you can actually forage for, but you have
oh
to
yeah,
live.
and plants
Yes.
in every season you have the whole year, you have plants that you can totally live if there's an apocalypse. Because I told Jeannie and my friends, know also many friends, that it's one of my most important study and interest with plants of nature and understanding their properties and identification, and especially with all these survival plants and medicine that is free anywhere in the world, right? Anywhere you live, there is. You just have to know and see and learn and take it from. It's so many stuff for everything you could imagine. There are basic plants and it grows everywhere, and people call it weed, people call it forage, and they take it out.
Yeah, they call them weeds, and yeah, you can even get a kind of what do they call it? It looks like a dandelion, but it's longer.
Like a lettuce.
Yeah, the white lettuce.
Yeah.
That one grows in my garden here, in my front garden, and you can actually make a very potent painkiller.
Oh yeah, it's free. Yeah, it's
I
just
have
make.
still yet to try it, but I don't dare to.
It's very strong. It's very strong. You have to dilute it a lot. So like this, you have even the dandelion. The flowers can be eaten. The sap,
Yes.
it's really good for many different things, for your cuts and for your bruises.
I've actually put dandelion leaves in a salad, for dinner, and nobody's noticed.
Nice.
Oh yeah, and the roots have amazing properties. The burdock, the borage, the purslane, the plantain, the singing nettles. There is.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
There are endless free supply of powerful medicine plus food.
People in the United States treat dandelions like they're the devil.
I usually give it to the rabbits.
Yeah, it's all because of television too.
Oh yeah, and according to the year, summer you have your plants, winter you have your stuff, in the spring, autumn, it's endless supply. Wild onions, wild garlics, mustards. There's so much stuff you could just harvest, and and cures everything. Everything.
Well, sometimes I see advertisements from in the Facebook about people who actually take you on a short
True.
walk, and
Yeah.
and they show you the edible plants and all that. So that's
Yeah.
really I need to do that once. I need to do that. But it has to be
Yeah.
a bit more in the summer because there's nothing around here now.
Yeah, it's to learn and practice is important, because the thing is that the vegetable world is also very huge and complex. There are millions of plants and species and variations of many different plants, so you can have one plant with so many different species, and the things change. So
or you can also see some stuff which you don't think is nothing actually. I'll give an example. Walking in the forest, you see a whole load of trees that look as if they have been hit by lightning. So it's like they have a burnt stump on them, and it's actually not a stump, but it's a mushroom.
right.
It's a mushroom that's growing. I think it's the which one is it? It's the chaga, the chaga mushroom.
Chag, yeah, the chag.
Oh,
It's a good one, yeah. It's supposed to have. I don't even want to. It's anti. That word, it's supposed to be very healing properties.
Yeah. It's also good for blood sugars.
Yeah, and also for the
And I
types.
remember every time I go into a forest, we always say, "Oh my God, look at all those trees! They look like they've been, hit by lightning." There's but it's not the lightning. It's the mushroom that looks like burnt wood.
Exactly, and people pay a lot of money to eat expensive salmon and blue cheese for omega-3. You know what is the best source? Parsley is the best source for omega-3. Omega-3, free source for potent omega-3, right there, growing as a weed. Amazing, tasty, crunchy.
What was that, Vikka?
I think it's parsley. I don't know how is it in Spanish. It's called verdolaga. Verdolaga.
Porcelain.
Porcelain, is it?
Porcelain or porcelain?
Porcelain, not porcelain. Check it out.
It's like
check it out.
They actually sell it here in packs. The seeds. For
oh, it's grow everywhere. It's so potent. Imagine it's packed with omega-3. Free source right there.
Yeah. I think I have a packet of seed because
you can stir fry, you can do whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even stinging nettles have amazing properties, So the stinging nettles, it's supposed to do it's kind of like detoxing your blood, It's amazing.
Yeah.
Even the army people, the military people know that is the source for surviving if there is no food at all. The stinging nettles have all the vitamins and lot of stuffs, minerals to survive, and just also very diuretic. If anybody have, okay, we are not diagnosing anything here. We're just having a general talk, but hope we don't get flagged by YouTube. But any people problem with the stones and all this stuff, stinging nettle is supposed to be a blessing. Just drink stinging nettle, few days you're gonna be, all natural. There's so much stuff growing in and the people are just taking out of weed. There are stuff for liver. There's stuff for many things for free. It's just that you have to, if you're really interested, you have to spend time in learning and identifying and using it, but it's a skill that could be helpful if there's an apocalypsis, right? as is mentioned in many cosmologies, so why not, so
Yeah. Well, you can start with the simpler things to grow, like herbs.
oh yeah, the general herbs, the culinary herbs are also very good to grow to start, or to uh, but there's something special about these wild herbs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have oregano, and I have wild oregano. And I had one of the rabbits that was not eating, and when a rabbit doesn't eat, I mean, it can really be dead within a couple of days, because they're eating constantly. They're nibbling and all that. But he wasn't eating anything or drinking, and I'm like, oh no. So the last thing you should do is, I mean, this is only my opinion. I'm not giving anybody medical advice for the animals. This was me. The last thing that I do is take a rabbit to the vet for antibiotics, because the antibiotics kill all the good bacteria in the gut, and the rabbits have a lot of that because they're eating all the time, so they have lots of good bacteria. And if you kill that bacteria, you kill the rabbit because they can't digest anymore. So the last thing I do is take them, for antibiotics. So I give them lots of wild oregano and parsley and sage and whatever other herb I have lying around, growing around in the pots. And within a few hours, he was better and eating and drinking and all that. So for me, it's enough. It's enough. How to say bewijs? It's enough to see that, to see that these kinds of things they do work, especially with animals. Animals have I say they do better with natural medicines, natural
and human beings too, really.
too. Yes.
The thing is, you have to believe in it.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you have to be constant with it. Because I mean, when you take a pill, it's just, oh, you take a pill, this and that. But when you have to take natural remedies, it has to be, it's, let's say, the form that you take it is different, and also the doses, and with what do you take it, and maybe you can't eat, you have to do it after dinner or with food or whatever. They're very more specific.
Yeah, the natural medicine, what is the difference is also the human body is programmed to receive different alkaloid, be it food, medicine, whatever, in a natural form, and
Yes.
all the synthetics doesn't help. So you could take the most vitamins, pills you want, or whatever other substitutes. Very difficult. It can really replace it. The way of finding the same thing in a natural, organic things, and you have everything in organics, right? So the problem with this is this, the natural stuff tries to find the reason and cures it from the root. The synthetics is just calms you for the moment. That's it.
Yeah, it covers the symptoms.
That's it. That's why there is no
it doesn't
happy
cure,
customers.
It just
Yeah.
takes away the symptoms. It hides the symptoms.
Exactly. Yeah. So as we spoke before, right? Like the vegetable world is almost a technology, like feeding us, healing us, and there exists more than stuff we could imagine with this technology of vegetable technology, right? And these people understood it. They are literally saying, so they also speak about the oils You know, linseed oil, hemp oil, nut oil made from forest nuts such as pine and hazelnut. Pine, it's amazing. Pine needle tea is amazing. Pine pollen is freaking amazing. Why did we have the pineal gland? Yeah, and the pine tree. You know, it's almost like it detoxes you. You know, the pines is supposed to be used as cleaning products.
Right. Hey, I don't know if you ever heard of arnica oil, but I use it for some pain. It has some back pain, some shoulder pain. It worked really well. It's
Yes,
like a menthol,
Arnicum, yes.
but really nice. Great stuff. I got it from Germany. You know, Germany makes great stuff.
Oh yeah, and also honey was the central ingredients in both medicine and culinary. Was also known to be a potent remedy. Honey is amazing antibiotic properties. Berries were eaten very extensively in the forest, offered a large range: rowan berries, cowberries, cloudberries, junipers, blackberries. Yeah, this is living in harmony with the nature. You know, this is no. It's like taking care of yourself with stuff that was created naturally for you to consume. And but we, as you mentioned before, we are so contaminated with this fake food. Yeah. How are we going to be in harmony? How are our auras and our energies and our fields and vibration and frequency we going to be aligned? How? It's not possible. It's going to be very difficult. Even if you understand and know this, it's so difficult to apply with all these distractions of in every way, and to make it impossible to forget this real way of living and respecting and protecting the nature, and not creating that fake misunderstanding or misinformation of this is whatever we want to call it, right?
Yeah, and everybody thinks it's just a natural progression of how humans evolved.
Oh yeah, we evolved so much. Yeah, so really.
That's part of the problem, because people think this is normal. A lot of people do. No, you know, it's crazy because we could all be having farms, and farming is not easy, and it's a lifelong learning experience, really. But they got everybody convinced to eat McDonald's and go get a job to do that instead of working hard at your farm.
True, bro. So yeah, go ahead.
No, not farming is not for everybody, but you know, but like the more of a commune kind of idea with people, you know, because other jobs that other people don't do are going to be needed. So you'll need to have like the barter system, because not everybody can farm and not everybody can build cabins and things like that, right? So you need to trade, but I just think it was a lot easier than they portray it to be.
Exactly. And they also had like herb recollection rituals, you know, because for them it was a ceremony of harvesting herbs. It was a connection to be in the nature, go there, connect with the plants, speak to the plant.
Right.
That it heals you, right? You bring that plant to the house, you prepare it, you speak to it, right? And then you take it, and you're connecting to the essence, because that's a creation. and it's created for a purpose, and you're asking that created that thing to heal you in a way because it has that properties. You need to speak to it, right? That's how real medicine works. But what the synthetic is done is isolating the alkaloids, taking the spirit out of the matter. It's not going to work.
You know, people can show themselves though too about how magical plants really are, trees and plants. You know, I had a few stories, right? I had a chipmunk stuck in my house for a day and a half, and I was horrified my cats were gonna get it, and I was tearing my kitchen apart, almost literally, to get to this thing who was trapped over there, and finally I something just said, go talk to the trees. And there's a few trees outside that I kind of my buddies, and I went out there and I asked them for help. So after a day and a half, I got back in the house after that, and like within under an hour, I had that chipmunk in my hand and outside back out in the yard. So, you know, did something really happen? I don't really know, but the timing is pretty cool. You know. And I do have a collection of 4-leaf clovers that is pretty insane. I don't pick them anymore. I just leave them there now. But those things talk to me. I hear them, and I'll stop in the middle of stuff, and boom, it's at my feet. And I've done it in front of people. You know, I'm not just saying this stuff. It's real. It's fun. It's I can't explain it, but it's definitely real. Something happens, and I'll come out of my room, I'll go outside and be like, okay, where is it? Boom. And within a minute, not even, I'll find that clover that called me. I got so many pictures. I have so many that I have lost a bunch. I got one from like 1987 in Manhattan. Who finds 4-leaf clovers in Manhattan, guys? Right? I don't know. I did. So it's
it's an emulate, you know, right? It's a nature's way of connecting the energy of, because it's all about the belief that clover is bringing that energy of positive because you believe in it, right? You put your belief in it. So people who believe in something that is going to provide that, is going to, because you're putting that energy and vibration in that it manifests back to you, right?
Well, you know, I don't know if I really believed it was going to bring me any luck. I just thought it was the coolest thing because, you know, it does. I don't go looking for them. I've never went and looked for them and found one. What happens is, you know, you get that voice in your head, oh, I haven't seen this person. And then 2 hours later, that person calls, you know, that thought you get, that voice in your head, whatever you want to call that. And that's what happens. And
yeah, you're connecting to that magnetic field above you. And it's sending that energy that, the radar we spoke about, right?
Exactly. That's what it is. And to be significant with, you know, you find one, you got good luck, is just kind of cute kind of idea, you know, because I don't know, it brings me this sense of connection that I wish I could just wrap and give to everybody, because it's pretty cool. You know, I think about these things during the winter and I'm like, I know you're coming, guys. I'm going to find you. They follow me. It's crazy.
Awesome, bro. So what they used to do in this herb collection stuff, you know, like they used to question truly about the conditions and the state of their skin, eyes, and mouths. Was checked to the people if they wanted to, you know, or cure. It was preferably for the patients to stay with the healer for a few days, during which the healer could observe the patient and know anything patient himself might not see. So it was like literally a session, right?
Right.
Like the herbs were seen as friends and were treated with love and respect. That's the important.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was thinking of it being like in a family member's living room kind of atmosphere. Where it is very loving and caring, and the sense of concern and well-being is really there.
Exactly. So when collecting the herbs, the healer must have good intentions. Otherwise, the herb will not be as potent and might even make things worse.
Wow. Wow, you see that? That's pretty crazy. That's intense. To have backwards effects, right? Wow.
Oh yeah. So imagine that could be applied to any kind of soup or infusion.
Exactly.
Right?
That could be a problem. And these guys know that. So, oh man.
Yeah, that's why you pray before having your food.
Right, to wash anything away.
You're blessing the food.
Exactly. You pray before you take it.
Wow.
So you give it the good intentions and you say thank you.
That's always nice too, though, right? It just feels good to be thankful.
Yeah.
I think starvation is largely engineered, or almost completely. They could get food to those people, and homeless people. It's all engineered. Wow, so this is a lot of what we're talking about right now is why they took the food industry over on us. And so they can do all these things to the food and have it have adverse effects on us. Like I had last week, and it's not going to kill you on the spot, but it's going to chip away at your psyche and your performance, your abilities.
Exactly. And before harvesting the herb, healers would always say a prayer in which they would ask for permission, assure the herb of their good intention, and ask for forgiveness for hurting the plant. It is important to say this prayer for the heart because plants were believed to feel the person, and if the request was not genuine, they would not help. Spiritual doctors, in a way, the plants connected to the people through their emotions and feelings, not through mind. Over-harvesting was a taboo and was looked at with all seriousness. Oh yeah, it's prohibited. You cannot harvest herbs from the nature like this. They're gonna fucking ram you. Yeah. At least here in Europe, you cannot harvest herbs from the nature as long as it's your property or places of someone belongs whom you know, right?
So if you found something in the park, you're not allowed to pick it?
Nobody's not gonna say something, but it's if you pluck few plants here and there, you cannot just go with a fucking rucksack filling herbs all around.
Knapsack full once a week.
Yeah, you could forage, a little bit here or there, a small backpack, a few things here and there sometimes, but you cannot just you need a special permit. You can, but you need a permit. where you have to learn how to treat the plant, how to harvest, how to not damage.
Well, at least it sounds like it's for good reason.
Oh yeah.
You know, because
it
like over
protects
here,
the nature. Yeah.
You need a permit, but you know that's just because they want their money for the most part.
Also, because you know the people, if there are people who collect, you know, if you live really, you know, in the areas away nature, you're not gonna take permit, no crap, no nothing. You know, if you're living in total nature, you care shit, you whatever, you know, take whatever. But you know, if you are like near to the cities and you know, or
right, if you're just doing it recreationally.
Yeah, I guess it depends if it's a recreational area or a private area and a private woods, private land. So then, yeah, you would need to get permission from the owner.
Oh yeah, but yeah, go ahead.
I think one big difference would be like if somebody's doing it recreationally, they might take, if you need one, might maybe take two just to show off a little bit. Whereas like if you're living it, you're not going to take two to show off. You're going to take one because you know better. It's important, right? I think that might be a key difference, like an ego thing.
Right.
Like fishing or whatever, right? Foraging. You know, if you're just doing it for sport or whatever, like for fun, I don't know. Big difference doing it because that's what you do.
So over harvesting was a taboo and was looked at with all seriousness, especially when it concerned trees. Many trees were seen as powerful entities who were governed by their own spirits or consciousness. They could provide help and guidance in certain circumstances.
Yeah, for chipmunks too, right?
They were respected and cherished. Yeah, also like in the Norse or in the Zoroastrian, the tree is very important, and also in the Celtic, the tree, right?
Sure.
The healers were usually working locally and knew very well the area and which herbs to find where. Exactly, the tree is important also in a way. You know, it changes. If you have a house and if you have a few trees, it changes a lot the energy of that place, you know, and also connected with the grounding. You know, the grounding is so important, right? The grounding works instantly. The grounding, even if it's for a very short period, it works really, really well.
It really does. And it might sound weird to have like a relationship with a tree, but too bad. They're really awesome. They are fun to watch. If you can watch a tree through the years, it changes dimensions, and they're amazing. They just kind of stand there through all the different seasons, just growing away. You know, I guess they hope they don't get termites or ants or something, but a beautiful entity. It's there's so many of them. The variety is just insane. So it's fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have a particularly old house, and there's some really old trees here. Like there's a dogwood, a few dogwoods, and they grow really slow. And I have a huge dogwood outside, which I really love. It's a beautiful tree. Some old pines. A lot of fun.
Oh, that's what also it says, what you're mentioning in a way, like the local herbs were considered to be better for the local people, and each area had its own slightly different herbal portfolio. They also did special rituals to build a relationship with the meadows and the forest where they collected herbs. These included little food offerings such as bread and milk, spending time at the meadows, talking to the herbs, getting to know them, sowing seeds, and initiation rituals that included fasting and special herb decoctions to connect with the spirit of the forest or meadow. That spirit was then called on if the healer needed advice for patient treatment. It usually came in the form of a little meadow animal that was overtaken by the spirit of the time the spirit was helping. The animal would bring the required herb for the patient that needed help. These beliefs are similar to the Druids' beliefs in Celtic cultures. Yeah, the same thing. The connection with the plants is that's it. It's nothing else. It's when somebody says, you say, God help me. Yeah, God is helping you, but you need to take something to heal also. Yes, right.
He's helping us with the plants.
Exactly. So the miracle is not going to happen just like it could happen and do happen. Of just like with the light energy and you are healed, but in reality you need to consume what the creation has provided for different stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's not only important about what you consume, how you consume is also important, right?
And when.
Exactly. And that's the important part, because when the nature is providing, that's the exact time it needs to be taken. The medicine, the food, the fruits, the vegetables, whatever.
Right. Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about when you just said, Vikka, how, if coconuts don't grow in your region, you're probably not supposed to be eating coconuts. You don't have a reason to eat them now, probably, right? So it's most of the food trade is just for like personal satisfaction, I guess.
Oh, yeah. And also the fruits are supposed to have this H3O. It's like the pure water, right? And we know the fruits, the way they look, every fruits, the vegetables, is there. The reflection, the sacred geometry is there even in the fruits. The toroidal field in every fruit, you can see that, right? Yeah. So it's again, it's speaking about the same thing: the energy, the symmetry, the geometry. You need to eat geometry, right?
Yeah. And I do pray for my family, everybody's food, really. I picture somewhere down the line at any point is your food in the world right now. You have seeds in the world that are on their way to you. Little plants, big plants, whole foods that are, in different stages on their way to your table. So I try to picture the people who are handling your food, and whether that's you or someone on a truck, I just picture everybody happy and healthy and loving what they're doing, and it's just to give an overall feeling of well-being to everybody and what's going on, because I know that my thoughts are in that field. So that's all I need to have those thoughts feel better, and I know that they do work, and I think that if I understood how to do those thoughts at the right time with more people, we would understand things different. We would hear each other differently. Pretty sure.
Oh yeah, bro.
Yeah, like the moon phases, it offers different charges to us. So it could offer different elements of possible communication or travel, or who knows? Really, who knows?
Exactly, because they had that moon thing with the herbs too. Like they had herbal formulas, like the herbs that were used straight away were collected with their dew on full or waning moon.
Nice. Look at that.
But but the ones for drying were collected once the dew was gone on the new or waxing moon. So everything is there for a reason. You are using the same plant at a different time of a day or an hour or a week and collecting different.
Yeah, you see, this is why cosmology is so important, guys. So cool. I think that, 4 hours later, that plant could do something so different for you. What? That's magic. That's cool.
Like leaves and flowers were stored in a cloth bag with the access to air, while the roots were stored in ceramic pots with lids closer to the earth element where they came from.
And plenty of people know that different types of music will affect your house plants. Right? I think that's kind of.
Oh yeah, but not only music, just saying you're so beautiful or you're so healthy, you're so productive, you're
right. Just talking to that plant like it's special to you, like it's part of the family. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the trees, right? The same thing we spoke about also the water, how it changes the information in the water when you speak to the water, right? So why the same thing is happening with the tree? It's like that intention, that your vibration, that sound you are saying, because we spoke about this, like the sounds frequency and vibration that is reaching. So it's not you don't, even if you're saying it in English or whatever language, that sound and vibration it's receiving, same as the animals. They understand what you're saying. You could say in Chinese and they will understand, because it's about the vibration and the intention that is passing between the two, because it's a living thing too, right? So
excellent. That's a perfect way to put it too, because it passes the language barrier.
Exactly.
Which kind of makes it why it's so hard to explain it sometimes. But it's there, guys. Definitely real. Plants are very sensitive. I wonder, I think me and Keith were bringing it up once. I wonder if plants are even more spiritually advanced than people sometimes. I don't really know, but it's just like, I don't know. What's it like to do that, to have that life? It's interesting to me.
Oh, yeah. And also the moon was known to have an effect on the herb, and the moon cycle was strictly followed to make sure the herbs collected are in their prime healing power. That knowledge and information needs to be learned to practice that, right? So at which time of the month is the best time to recollect which herb. Astrology.
So
go ahead.
Cool. I'm just blown away, bro. I really am.
Oh yeah. That's living with the nature. That's it. It's nothing else. Call it what you want to call it. It's just living or trying to live, being a part of the nature, right? And understanding its potentials of.
Wow.
So astrology was also taken into account, and the impact of the heavenly bodies on the herbs was known. But the astrological calendar was not the same as the ones used in the Western astrology. Cosmic energies gave the herbs their holistic healing powers, which would not be present if the chemical element of the herb was simply combined in a vial. The same thing it was saying. If you're taking out the spirit or the essence of that plant, it's not going to work. So the dew from various herbs was also extensively used and was known to be very powerful medicine. So imagine just the dew of a particular herb was enough.
That's not a surprise. A little bit, but you can scrape the dew off of some plants and make stuff out of it.
So the dew actually comes out of the plant, and it's not water or anything from the outside.
The dew is the morning dew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it usually it'll take like the top layer of whatever's on the leaf off of it.
It
if
will
you scrape
absorb
it the right way.
It will absorb the properties and the oils of the plant.
And especially the new growths, and especially in the morning, because they are not very strong fibers, and they absorb that water and that alkaloid, and you could get some amazing stuff from any herbs. Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah.
So it was usually used on its own or in formulas that did not require heating. When preparing a herbal formula, weaker or gentler herbs were put in first, gentler ones, followed by the stronger ones. Otherwise, the stronger herbs will not allow gentler herbs to fully realize their potential in the formula.
Well, you see that? That's like a little trick that seems to be so important. And I might not have guessed that. I don't think I would know that. I don't know if that would come to me naturally if I was trying to do something. Right? These little tricks are the things we're missing. This is great, man. Unbelievable.
Oh. So they also say about the chamomilla, the lemon balm, greater burdock, plantain, nettle, red clover, dandelion, calamus, cornflower, valerian, calendine, johnwort, lingerberry. There's so many stuff The aerial parts of the plants were thought to carry the medicine. The roots carried energy or power, and the bark carried the movement of that energy, and formulas were created accordingly. In the formula, weaker and gentler plants created a perfect environment for the main plant to work to its full potential. They, so to say, paved the road for the king. Crazy, yeah, amazing. So The Slavic healers were known to use many herbal potions, which they were combining with saunas and other water procedures, which were a significant part of the treatment. Written evidence is scarce, even though people, including those not well off, were literate both in the pre-Christian and ancient Russia, which can be deduced by an indirect evidence. So the majority of the knowledge was passed on from teachers to apprentices. Information is gathered from the medieval scrolls and the books, and from the traditions, rituals, and knowledge that reached us by the word of mouth. The rest have been lost during wars, fires, and other disasters. The work of exactly burning.
Yeah, the libraries of Alexandria. I wonder if they just stashed everything and they just set an empty room on fire and called it that. You know?
Oh yeah, or everything is in the vat.
Right. In the basement.
The works of Hippocrates were known in the medieval Russia, and dietetic advice was also given. So, although the importance of the moderation was probably the main motive, some chronicle contains dietetic recommendations for different times of the year, such as eating warming foods, radish, mustard, onion, garlic, honey in winter. And ghee was also known and widely prepared for culinary and medical purposes. Ghee is big time in Asia. These recommendations survived past ancient times and were extensively used in medieval times and beyond. Special spells that were used alongside water healing and herbal preparations also had an important place. The sickness itself was seen as a result of not living right. Which later merged into Christian philosophy, where the sickness was thought as a punishment for sins.
That's a fear tactic. That's what that is.
Don't study the herbs, but you're getting punished for whatever. You're getting punished because you're not opening your eyes, right? That's the reality.
You're gonna get leprosy for that. Hey, wasn't during the three wise men, didn't they bring herbs and spices?
Yeah, or the frankincense and all. It's medicinal.
Right. So it's very symbolic with that. Why they bring a medicine to a baby?
Medieval times saw a big shift towards using methods that were in use in both European and Arabic countries at that time. So names of Hippocrates, Galen, and Paracelsus were known, and their teachings were practiced by both domestics and foreign healers. Growing contact with other cultures has shifted the medical model towards the Western style, but many traditional methods of healing remained and were used as the part of the official medicine in USSR. Sanitariums were built in the seaside and mountains and offered water treatments, plenty of fresh air, exercise, physiotherapy, and other non-invasive and non-chemical treatments to its visitors, along with some of the more modern medicines. Modern Russia is seeing a huge rise in interest in natural medicine, but officially it's being pushed very hard into the evidence-based medicine doctrines. There's a hope, though, as people are increasingly turning towards natural methods of healing and are studying gentle traditional medicine. Yeah, they call it alternative medicine. Alternative, yeah.
Hey, I used to go see a holistic doctor. Right, I was going for some. I had problems with my neck and my spine. Right, so I had to go over and over, and I had surgery. And I was going to see a regular doctor, and he all of a sudden had this woman come in. She was a holistic doctor, so I was like, "Oh, book me with her instead." And I went to see her for about a year, and she helped a lot, right? And then all of a sudden, I went to make a new appointment, and she was gone. And she left no forwarding information, and that was that. She was just done, and I could never find her. I thought that was so weird, but I liked her approach with so many of the things I was going through at the time. She was a big help, and it was very strange to see her disappear like that. Not a lot of doctors just kind of get up and leave without letting their patients know or getting them some furthering information, right? That was 20 years ago, too. It was a long time ago. Maybe 15.
Oh yeah, we humans are very, very powerful, if we wanted to, because it's there for us to. The important thing is that we nobody can heal us. We are the ones who can heal ourselves. That's the more important thing, and all this is there for us to realize that it's simple, but it's potent way of nourishing and healing yourself with this vegetal technology and these different cosmology, and especially Slavic or many different cosmology work with nature in that way to understand, because it's the whole picture. It's not only about one thing and it's going to work for you. No, you have to understand the whole picture for the things to work. All right. So that's what all this ancient cosmology is trying to tell us, in a way, like of us being the center of right. So all this knowledge that has been passed from all different ways to all different cosmologies, in a way, for us to live in, try to live in harmonic. Because all it needs is the right intention. That's it. That's it. Because it might be a simple infusion, but done in that right way, it will work magic. And it's all about. Yeah, go ahead.
Some of the simplicity is just outstanding. It's beautiful how simple some of these tricks seem to be that we talk about. It's like so cool, but we might not ever think of it. Like picking the herb underneath the right time under the right moon is, how fantastic is that? That idea is so cool to me. I'm like blown away by that. I love it.
Oh yeah, I've not seen a freaking doctor in my more than 15 years.
Nice.
Touch wood. If I get something, I cure by myself, because everything is there for us.
Yeah, I avoid doctors too, best I can. That's for sure.
So it's in the simple things is the secrets, right?
Yeah, it seems to be just little tweaks of simple information. But then again, I bring it up though. Gardening's not easy, so they got us tricked into thinking it's like this really super hard thing that you really don't want to do.
Yeah, but you don't need to have a garden to understand, no, right? It's the nature. The people understand. There's so much nature that you need to go and see and look and maybe see. People need to study a bit, So at least the important few simple things that you use a lot in your daily life, like some simple foods, what we spoke about, some important herbs, with general thing at the different time of the year,
Sure.
You just have to structure it out, and you can understand. And it's even the most simplest herb could be a life saving for you, because it's that specific herb that's required in that specific moment in that specific way. That's it.
Right.
That could be that you just took it out from the ground and you used it.
Especially, bro. Yeah, especially if it's regional. Then it's right around you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and there's loads of stuff that's around everywhere. Right. Nature is abundant.
So true.
And your culinary herbs and all your rest of the few vegetables and other spices, and it's so much stuff that have so many different properties. It's crazy. You can have a whole episode for that, and another whole episode of the vegetal technology that we also speak about sometime, about the the psilocybin and all the rest of the psychoactive. There's a whole another new world of that we could have with that pineal gland and everything, right? How that technology works with that vegetal technology, which also had the knowledge, all these ancient cultures. And because of that knowledge, these people had that information about how their world is. Because you cannot just perceive everything by sitting in one place, right? You needed these kind of real special visions or places or ceremony which are described in different way, of someone reaching with the aliens or going with the gods, or even Da Vinci was taken away, even Tesla was taken away, whatever. It's a way of saying, that it needs that, right? Of
the atmosphere, and timing, intention.
And that's how they bring the real information, the real truth, the real fact. Most of the cultures,
they all talk about something with the ceremonies. So it's demonized in pop culture though, or glorified in a bad way, right? So they get you on both ends. But there's also things like, I was talking to my wife last week about one time I wanted to cut up onions and make my son sleep with onions on his feet. And they thought I was nuts. And I forget why. I'm not too sure why, but he was saying, "Ma, please don't make him do that." I'm like, well, if it's going to help, sorry. Might try it.
Oh yeah, also juicing is very good. Vegetable juicing, fruits, infusions, simple things. Smoothies, superfoods. There's so much flowers, different flowers during different seasons of different weeds you are growing around you. The roses, the petals, it's so much stuff. It's free stuff. A lot of them. Right. So we would be needing only an episode on that, about the other stuff about this, how these people connect and why and how, and right, and from how they get their information and how they have their head
Yeah, that'll be a good
in the
one.
right north, right? Like,
Right.
so
Keep your north, everybody.
guys, we're gonna be wrapping up. Yeah, it's almost 3 hours. Yeah, and we're gonna have last thoughts. Yeah, we're just sharing. It's no, whatever you want to call it, it's just the way of life of many ancient cultures, that they live like this, and they have their rights, and whoever are living or trying to live that way also are in their rights, and also the ones who don't want, they're also in their rights, but no one is in their right to say what is really right and what is really wrong, because it's all one root knowledge and information that's been shared, and it's been put out of context and in a different way, creating more different views, but it's all there for a reason. And the most important thing is that we respect. That's it. That's the most important thing, right? So we're gonna have last thoughts, guys, and we're gonna wrap up, because my phone can just go anyway, any moment. So
Well, I'll just say good night, because I'm falling asleep here, and I really hope to join you guys in one of those chats where we can chat about something, other alternative stuff, and yeah, that's it. Good night, guys.
thank you, Evelyn. Gene.
Yeah, bro. Wow, what a great topic. That went into places that really nice surprise. Very interesting group. The Slavic cosmology was pretty amazing. And again, like last week, we could do another show just with this alone. And then the plants are amazing, bro. I love nature. I always have. I grew up in the city, but my heart was like in the country somewhere. So, a great topic, brother. And it was great to be here. Thanks, everybody, for spending your time with us. I hope you enjoyed what we got into tonight. It was maybe a little scattered, but it's just so vast, this particular cosmology. Like I was saying, it could be like trying to call somebody, where's your friend from? He's European. Right? So it doesn't really exactly say what it is, but it's a vague idea. And it was a lot of fun, man. The fragmentary knowledge is hard to get a hold of and piece together, but it's definitely a lot of fun doing it. So thanks, brother. Good show. Good to see you, Evelyn. Keith, I'm glad you showed up for a little while again. We'll see you next time. And have a good week. Thanks, Vikka. Good show, bro.
Oh yeah, brother. Thanks, Jeannie. Thanks, Evelyn. Yeah, thanks everybody. Guys, we are wrapping up with not summarizing the whole thing, but yeah, you guys got it. It's there. Slavic is no different than any other cosmology. So the truth is one. That's why different variations, but it resonates at a deeper level. It resonates because it's not pseudoscience, right? So thank you everybody for being here. Make sure you guys are here next week. Definitely we're going to have an awesome topic too. So this is Vikka Draziv signing off, guys. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Astronauts to the moon.
Houston, we have a problem.